Thank you, Chair Latta and Ranking Member Matsui, for putting together today's hearing, and thanks to our witnesses for giving your time to be here. Every day, down to this minute, the Chinese Communist Party and other foreign adversaries are looking for ways to manipulate our communication networks and to gain access to a plethora of valuable information. This committee has taken great steps toward combating these threats through legislation that is being presented in this hearing. And I appreciate the attention given to ensuring that we address any and all vulnerabilities that we might have with China. The United States entered this year's World Radio Conference with 3 goals: expand connectivity, unlock space, and protect spectrum for national security. It's clear that we need to be focused on expanding mobile connectivity and updating our technology to meet and combat China's aggressive approach. Mr. Lewis, do you believe that the United States is doing everything that we can to have a competitive advantage over the Chinese Communist Party's spectrum policy?
Unfortunately, no. The risk for the United States is it will become a spectrum island where there are allocations that apply only to the continental United States and not to the rest of the world. And this has major implications for electronic warfare. So we could do more to address this risk. The US has strong advantages. We still lead over China, but they are determined to displace us. And they have gotten a better reception in many parts of the world than we have when it comes to spectrum allocation.
Mr. Lewis, do you think that commercial wireless can work in tandem with our national security interests?
I believe it is possible. In the long term, people are very optimistic about the prospects for dynamic spectrum sharing, which is a way of saying that 2 users can occupy the same space, and between artificial intelligence and other programming.
Do you feel that that dynamic spectrum sharing can be safely done?
At the moment, yes, in limited cases. By the end of the decade, certainly.
Mr. Singleton, what national security risks do we face if we allow the Chinese Communist Party to further lead in communication networks and spectrum bands that the United States has yet to develop?
I would say China's penetration of spectrum bands and broader U.S. communication networks provides China with direct gateways, frankly, to intercept and manipulate vast quantities of data traversing our networks. It jeopardizes not only the privacy of American citizens, but also the integrity of our infrastructure systems. And so as a result, China is really poised to impede the mobilization of American military forces, to foment a state of disarray, and to redirect national attention and resources in both.
Do you feel that's a national security risk as we sit here today?
Absolutely.
What policies should we adopt to ensure that the U.S. once again develops that leadership position in spectrum, and not only against the Chinese Communist Party, but on the world stage? And that's for you, Mr. Singleton.
I think there's often a hesitancy here in Washington, understandably so, to mirror China's behavior simply because we have radically divergent governance structures. I think in this area, in particular, the Chinese have shown a willingness to think boldly, to think about how, from a national and sort of Beijing-centric perspective, they can drive innovation, growth, and dominance as it reflects just spectrum dominance and spectrum operability. I think it's something where we also need to sort of get in the game.
Okay, to get in the game, what should we in Congress be encouraging to develop that spectrum dominance, which you mentioned, and I agree with?
No, I mean, I think we absolutely actually first have to understand what our adversary is doing and how our adversary perceives that sectoral advantage. And then from there, sort of assess, I think as we've mentioned here, the fact that we have to broadly understand the risks and which are the highest profile risks and really focus our effort there. I think a broader conversation on spectrum is absolutely necessary and required. I think the key for that will be talking to industry stakeholders and really understanding from them and hearing their concerns, but also what opportunities they could potentially leverage if spectrum opens up and if we're thinking more expansively about spectrum.
So working with industry leaders will allow our spectrum to expand and to be safer. Is that the message that we need to leave this hearing with?
Absolutely.
I thank all the witnesses for being present here today, and Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The chair
If
now
I could add one
recognizes-
thing, Mr. Chairman, the one thing Congress could do is renew FCC's auction authorities. That would be a good first step.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Tennessee's 1st